All right, so this video is gonna be kind of scuffed, but I just want to talk about some things on my mind, and yeah, just bear with me. So I felt like I should make this video to help a certain amount of people kind of understand my position or like my perspective on like why I'm doing certain things or why I'm not doing certain things. So let me give you some more context. So a lot of people have been saying very recently to me in my Twitch chat or on like YouTube comments or stuff like that, like, oh, just come back to Maple, just come back to Maple, just come back. Like it's okay. Um, don't worry about like what you did or like it's not that big of a deal. We just want to see Maple content. Like we love you, all this stuff. And it's like I understand they have good intentions, of course. Like I get it. I know you guys are saying this because you just want to see good content and you like my stuff, right? But a lot of people don't understand why I haven't come back or like why I haven't come back yet. And I just want to kind of explain why. So the way I look at it is there's kind of like three different groups of people that um that watch me, right? There's like three different groups of people that like or like keep up with me. So there's like the supportive people that is going to be like represented by green. They're like the people that, you know, they watch me unconditionally. They understand the type of person I am, my humor, the way I do things, stuff like that. Like they just get it, you know what I mean? I feel like there's a lot of people that are in this second area, which is represented by orange, um, that they're just kind of like a bit confused. Like on one hand, they want to see my content again, and you know they are supportive. At the same time, like they they don't really like understand everything that's happening. And then the third group of people, which are people that just like absolutely despise me and would be happy if I just dropped dead. Um, so this third group of people doesn't matter. I'll never break through to them. But this second group of people, if you feel like you're part of this group, that you're like, oh, why doesn't Dookie just come back to Maple? Or um, why did he even make a Maple video reacting if he said he wasn't going to like talk about Maple anymore or anything like that? So I kind of just want to like explain what's in my head, and that's it. The first group of people, you guys already understand. You guys know how I am, and that's it. So I figured I would just do it in paint, maybe to help like visualize things if I ever think that I need to draw something to help visualize it. Um, so the first and most important thing is you need to understand me as a person, like who I am and what I've been through in terms of how MapleStory has affected my life, right? So let me give you context on my MapleStory. Yeah, the title. Um, so this hopefully will help you understand why it's not so easy for me to just come back to the game. Whereas, because a lot of people are just saying, oh, just come back, just come back. Like, don't worry about like harassment or anything like that. Like, just come back. This isn't something I've really talked about, so I understand why you guys don't understand, because I don't really make myself too personal online, but I will today. Or I will in this video. So I started to get back into MapleStory in early 2018, right? I played as a kid, like in Big Bang and stuff like that, but I never really like cared about the game or like knew much. But then I remember when Reboot came out in 2015, I played for around 6 months, right? And then I stopped playing because I was just playing by myself and I didn't know anything, right? I came back to the game early 2016 or 2018, and then throughout 2018, I didn't really talk to anybody. I just kind of played by myself. This is gonna sound kind of crazy, but I didn't even realize that this was like a social game. I literally all I ever did was just hit mobs. Like I would just listen to music and just hit mobs because I thought that's what the game was, and I liked that things were like cute. So for the majority of 2018, that's like all I did. And I was also really big into League of Legends at the time, so it's not like Maple was my main game, but this is when I would say like I officially like came back to the game, came back to Reboot and started playing a lot. So let's just say 2018, right? To give you more context about myself, I'm 23 years old. Right now, I am 23. And at this time in 2018, I was 18 years old, turning 19, right? So at the time, I also just graduated high school. So when I was in high school, I was playing League a lot. Like I was playing a ton of League, right? That's all I played. I spelled League wrong. I'm stupid. Um, and I realized that that League is a very bad game for me because it makes me upset, and I wanted to play something else, more. So I was like, oh, like I play Maple Story a little bit. Like maybe I should just play Maple more because I'm gonna start going to college. Because after high school, I went straight into college, and I'm like, maybe Maple is like a better game for me as a college student than League. So I dropped League and I started playing Maple, right? I started playing it like my main game like that summer of 2018 leading into like fall, which would be my first semester of college. Um so Maple became more than just a game for me. To give you more context, when I was like a child, like kindergarten through 12th grade. Well, I wouldn't say I'm a child in 12th grade, but yeah, through my elementary years of school, I don't say this to like flex or anything, but I was like a prodigy child. Like I pretty much always got all A's, or I literally did. And I took AP classes. Um, like I just was so good at school basically. Like I was just like a nerd. Um, and coming from like a Middle Eastern family, like my family's very traditional in the sense of like, grades are everything. Yeah. And if you had good grades, your parents, like my parents, like they wouldn't like bother with me. You know what I mean? Because it's like they knew I would be fine. Like that's the way they looked at it. It's like, oh, I have good grades, so my child is fine. Whereas it's like if let's say one of my brothers didn't have good grades, like he would be like they would be like, what's wrong with you? Or right? Like that's just the kind of way they are. And since I always had good grades from K through 12, I was a gifted kid. Like I was all in these like honors programs and all this stuff. My parents never bothered to, I guess, like I the thing is I'm not saying this to blame them. This is just like what happened. Um they just never uh like bugged me. They never bugged me. They always just let me do whatever I wanted because I was doing good in school and that's all they really cared about, right? Um and with that, that led to a lack of discipline. So discipline is going to be like a very common thing um in this little story, I guess, about myself. It led to a lack of discipline because there was no need for me to really struggle through anything in regards to my school or anything like that because school was super easy for me. I always was just able to figure it out. I literally never studied ever, K through 12. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you're so privileged, blah, blah, blah. And I am. I am. Like, I was blessed that I was able to go through school like that. I could just, like, breeze by. I would just figure it out anyways. Nothing was ever troublesome for me, K through 12. And because of that, I didn't necessarily know how to study, how to struggle, or like how to like critically think because it's like if the teacher taught me something, I knew it immediately. Like I just got it. I would know how to do the homework. I would know how to like do the examples in class, everything. And my parents, they would just look at my grades and they'd be like, "Okay, he's good." So the other thing about my parents is they didn't want me outside though. They didn't want me outside because they were afraid that if I were to like start going outside and stuff, I'd become a hooligan. Because the area that I live in, it's not like I'm like, it's like kind of ghetto. I'm gonna be honest. So like, if like they were just afraid of me just like becoming like a rascal basically, and so what that ended up doing to me is I never really went outside because my parents wouldn't let me. Like I've never been to a birthday party. I've never been to I barely like go out, to be honest with you. Like when I was younger, they just didn't let me. They were like super super strict. Um and if I did go out, it would have to be like with kids that they knew, right? Like their friends' kids, for example. Um so what that ultimately led to, the point I'm trying to make, is I just became very like online. So I would do really well in school and I wouldn't go outside. So my parents pretty much left me alone. And um, I tunneled most of my free time just being online, specifically playing games, Minecraft, League, and Maple, right? Those were like the big three that I played so much between like 12 years old and like now, basically the last like 11 years. I've just played like those three games mostly. And yeah, so back to when I turned 18. When I turned not when I turned 18, when I graduated high school, I decided that like, hey, I should play Maple more because League is too much. It's not good for me, and I got to be responsible in college. College is like where the adults are, and I can't be playing League anymore. Like that's like childish. Like that's dumb. So I thought getting into Maple would be a better idea. Um, and the thing about the college that I went to, I initially went to New York University, which is one of the best schools in the country. I got a really good scholarship, and I went to NYU. And the thing with my commute is my commute was pretty far. It was like an hour and a half away. So I would commute an hour and a half to get there and an hour and a half to go back. And the reason I wanted to go to NYU is this. It's like the same thing with my parents. Is they just wanted me to like apply to all the top schools, and whatever one like I wanted to go to, like if I got in I could go. And I wanted to go to NYU because my older brother went to NYU too, and he ended up being like super successful. So I'm like, my parents are like, yeah, go to NYU just like him. So I went to NYU, but I commuted, and like I said, hour and a half there, hour and a half back. And um all of my friends that I had in high school, they didn't go to NYU. They all went to like more local schools, right? Like closer schools, like CUNY, for example. Uh, and so that first year at NYU was very, very, very lonely for me. Like I had no friends. Like let's just be honest. I had no friends. I was all alone, and um, what did I have? I had Maple. I had Maple with me. And what did Maple give me? Maple gave me that social void that I didn't have when I was 18, 19 years old in my first year of college, right? It filled in that social gap because I didn't talk to anybody at school at all. I had no friends. And that first year of college was Maple was everything to me. Like this was like I would say my peak of like my addiction and um and like reliance on Maple is like that first year because I made a lot of friends on Maple at the time. I joined a guild and I'm still friends with some of the people to this day. They're good friends, but at the time I was like a lot younger and I was just so desperate for like just to talk to anybody, to be honest. I very heavily over relied on online friends to like comfort me. So what did that mean? Um, let's say somebody's in a Discord VC, right? Everybody's just in a call. Um, I would feel an intense amount of anxiety if I wasn't there. Like I would do whatever it took. Like even if I'm at skipping class, not doing my homework, I wanted to feel included. I wanted to be part of the group, right? And that's what I did. So essentially, essentially I started cutting classes, I started skipping assignments, I started essentially ruining my life, my academic career, because I just wanted to have friends so badly, right? And and sure, you can say like, oh, what about your high school friends? Why don't you just make more of an effort to meet up with them? It was hard because at the end of the day, when you split up from like your high school friends, um, and your commute is an hour and a half away, and you're like kind of far, it's hard to keep up with people, and um, and they also eventually move on, right? Because they're still all together, and like I'm the one who kind of like branched off, right? And it's hard to come back. It's not impossible, of course, but it's just hard. And at the time, I thought that like this was really good for me. Like this was like I'm happy like this. I thought like yes, everything is going good for me. I made friends online. I'm so happy with them. They understand me and everything like that. Um, and I thought I was good, but I basically sacrificed everything to play Maple with them because it wasn't necessarily just because of the game I was addicted. It was because of the social like friend group that I had. I wanted to be around them all the time. And since they're playing Maple, I was also playing Maple because that's just what we all did together. And uh so what I started doing was my first semester there, I was like uh it was really hard for me because if you remember K through 12, I literally didn't study at all and I had no discipline to like even know how to study. So what would happen is I would have pretty hard classes because NYU is like a very prestigious school. It's like quite difficult and um relative to my high school, of course. And I just didn't know how to like grind for that to reach that like level of work that I needed to complete my assignments. I just didn't know how to do that because my whole life I've always been the gifted kid that just knew how to do things instantly, right? And all of a sudden I met with this like huge brick wall and I don't know how to study or anything, and it was really difficult for me, and I didn't understand that like that difficulty, that struggle, like that's normal. So I just ran away from it and I started skipping class because I didn't even want to think about it, and I started just sitting in the library literally for 10 hours just like grinding MapleStory just because I just wanted to like not think about, I guess I don't want to say the pain, but like I don't want to think about like struggling for school. Like I just thought like okay, it's just so much easier just to play Maple and I'll just like zone out and pretend that my life doesn't exist. And that's literally what I did. And that first year of NYU, I failed. Like I completely failed. And now I go to a different school. Like I just completely bombed it. Like I just completely ruined that entire opportunity for myself just because I wanted to be around people online and play Maple with them. Like it was as simple as that. And at that point, I remember I was 19 years old. Um, I felt like I was at rock bottom. Like I felt like I just ruined my whole life because academics were like such an important thing for me, such an important thing from like my self-confidence as well. It's like, oh, if I don't get all A's, like who am I, right? And my parents were also like so shocked. Like they didn't get it. They just didn't get it. They're like, how is my son, who has always been like this person who has never failed, how is he like, why is this happening to him? And I started like BSing them, to be honest. I was just like, oh, you know, like I'm just depressed because I don't have any friends anymore. And it made me really sad and I can't focus on my work. But deep down, I knew it was because of this addiction to MapleStory. Like I was so addicted to Maple that any money that I had for lunch, like when I would buy lunch at on campus, I would not eat. I would buy an X, like straight up. Like somebody in my guild chat at the time would be like, "Oh my god, this new set is out for like $10." I would literally have like $8. I would literally have $8 on me, and then by the time I got home, I would like look around the house for like spare quarters and shit, just to like manage to make $10 so I could just go to like 7-Eleven or wherever that had like karma coins just to like buy an X, just because I wanted that set because like somebody in my Discord said it was cool and I really wanted to like fit in. Like that's how like miserable my life was, like straight up. And so I lose my NYU opportunity. I tell my parents like, oh, I'm just lonely and I want to be with my friends. So I go to the school that my friends go to. Like I apply to that school instead my next year. So essentially I'm 19 years old. I've wasted an entire year's worth of college and I still have the debt. I have the debt to pay for it. And now I'm going to a completely new school and I'm starting as a freshman again. And I'm like 1 year behind. Um, and when I went to the new school with my friends, it was nice seeing my friends, and they were very, very kind to me. So this is like between 19 to 20 years old, right? In my second year of college. Let's like duplicate these just to like show as my friends, right? Or let's just say this is my friend, right? So my friends were nice. They like wanted to hang out with me and stuff. But at the same time, since they were already at their school for a year, like they were already over here when they were 18, 19, they have already kind of like established their bond closer with each other and have made new friends. And I'm still the outsider. Although I know them and they're my friends, they've already experienced so much in their freshman year together that I'm the one who's not like caught up basically academically and socially with them. And that made me feel even worse about myself because like now I'm just like, oh, I'm at this school with my friends and I can't even like hang out with them. Like I can't even really hang out with them that like that. So what did I want to do? With my lack of discipline, I just played more Maple. I played more Maple and I just relied on my online friends even more to fill in that void for me. I just played more. And what did I start doing again? I started skipping classes again. And I started not doing my assignments again. Same thing. Like I didn't learn my lesson. But I got lucky. I got very lucky. After the first semester, so this is fall 2019 semester, I was doing pretty bad. And they put me in something called academic probation. So for the spring 2022 semester, I was in something called academic probation. And my parents obviously found out about this. And I somehow weaseled my way out of that. And basically what this means is you could only take a certain amount of credits. You can't take too many because they think you're taking too many means you're going to fail. They think like you're struggling so hard, you have to take like a less amount of classes so it's easier for you, and you have to go to like these like meetings to get like checked up on basically. And this just made me feel so shit about myself because not only was I a year behind and not part of the same social group anymore, I'm also in academic probation when previously I was this superstar child that never failed anything, and now I'm the one who's failing and I can't even get my shit together. Like my self-confidence was so low at this point. Like I hated myself so much. I was like, what is wrong with me? Like what the hell is wrong with me? Why is this happening to me? Like I'm better than this. And the other thing is my friends that I'm with, remember I have friends that in this new school now, they're all people that I was ahead of in high school. Like they looked up to me. You know what I mean? And now they're ahead of me. They're ahead of me now. And I'm physically seeing it because I go to school with them. And they're talking about like more advanced level classes, like what they're doing on the weekend and stuff like that. And I'm just like, yeah, like I'm just like trying to do my homework. And in reality, like I'm just like grinding Maple, right? Like, and it's like, it's such a like shit feeling because it's like you just completely like I just lost who I was basically. And I just never wanted to face the reality, and I just kept playing Maple more and more and more and more. But what do I mean by I said I got really lucky in the spring 2022 semester? So in spring 2022, that's when COVID happened. Right? So when COVID happened, obviously everybody was forced indoors, and all the classes were online. And since this entire online medium was like new, like with like Zoom calls and like WebEx and all this stuff, everything went online. People didn't really know how to like navigate it. And the classes essentially became for me pass or fail. Like we wouldn't get grades anymore. It was just pass or fail. And that's how like the curriculum went. And And the professors were like extremely lenient because they're like older, like they don't know how this like shit works, and they're like they think COVID's about to end like any second now. They're just like, oh, it's whatever, like it's just this one semester. I'll be lenient. So my grades went up. My grades went up because I just abused COVID. I was just like, you know what, like why not? Like I'm the classes are online. I could, it's so much easier, and it's light. I don't even have to commute either. But the thing is, that's a double-edged sword for me because I have this crippling, like actually crippling Maple addiction, and since everything is online, I just played Maple all day, non-stop, even during online classes, like non-stop. I was just grinding, like all the time, and like yeah, why not? My parents think like, oh, he's just in his online class, he's on his computer, right? It's like, nah, I'm like in the online class and grinding, and I have that shit muted too. So like, I'm not even paying attention because I just want to grind. It's like, oh my god, dude! Like I did everything I could just to play Maple, everything. Like I cut off everything, and the other thing was that I forgot to mention actually that was very important, but it's such a like repressed memory for me. Is I used to work at Target too, so like basically all these years I used to work at Target until 2020 December, until the seasonal time of the year, like Christmas time. I just couldn't work there anymore. It was too much. I literally just ghosted them. I was like, because if you ever worked in retail, the seasonal time is the worst time of the year. Like the Christmas stuff, people could just go crazy and when they're shopping and stuff. And it was also COVID, so I was just like, I can't work here anymore. It's not worth it. Like I'm about to get sick. And this is like early COVID too. Like we didn't like 100% understand it yet. So we're just like, yeah, I'm going to get sick and die and bring it home and like kill my family. So I'm just like not going to go outside ever. I'm not going to work at Target. And like I just left that. There were even times when I was at work, like at Target, and I would look on my phone and I'd see there was a VC, and I would literally like put in one headphone and like join the VC, even at work, like at Target. Like that's how badly like I wanted like friends or like people to talk to, straight up. So I'm trying to remember the exact like everything that happened, because this is really like the first time I'm kind of opening up about this, or even like chronologically like laying this all out. So bear with me. Yeah, so online classes continued for a while. They continued until 2022 fall for me. So it was a long time where I only had online classes until 2022 fall, I believe. So a couple semesters ago, as of making this video. So basically ages 20 to 21, right? And then ages 21 to 22, this was my life. This was my life. Like no, let's go back. Let's just do 1 year at a time. So 20 to 22, same thing. I just played Maple. That's all I wanted to do. And it got worse. It got worse in the sense of like my relationships with people. So even with my family, I pretty much just stopped talking to them. Like whenever they would tell me to like do anything, it could be the most mundane task, like go pick up your laundry or something. I would just be pissed. Like I would just be pissed. Like I'd actually just be pissed off. My mom tells me to come down and eat. I'm in the middle of a WAP. I'm pissed. Like I'm telling you, this reached a level of addiction for me where it's like a genuine, true addiction that holds you by the balls. Like you can't, like it like totally consumes your entire headspace and life, right? And I was doing okay in school, not like 100%, but it was mostly because I was like cunning. Like I was able to understand like, okay, this teacher's old. I'm gonna like rizz her up a little bit, and I'm gonna like because a lot of the assignments would be like PowerPoints, and we're like, okay, I'm gonna make my PowerPoint look really nice, even though the content's maybe like not that amazing on it. She's just gonna be like impressed by that, and shit like that would work. You know what I mean? Like, and I'd get like bonus points. So it's like, yeah, like I was doing okay in school to the point where it's like, okay, I'm not like failing anymore, but at the same time, like I'm still not trying at all, and I'm still not necessarily like struggling to the point where I start need discipline in my life to actually like break through and make serious progress. Um, so I'm still playing Maple. I'm still like super reliant on my online friends for anything. So 21, this would be, I turned 22 in October of 2021. Yeah. So, and then, yeah. So 21 to 22, same thing. Same thing. I'm just playing Maple all day. That's all I'm doing. That's all I care about. When did I start streaming? Oh, yeah. I started streaming in like April 2022. Okay. Yeah. I'm trying to like remember everything. So I'm still playing Maple. Nothing's really changing for me. I have no friends. I have a shit relationship with my family. I have no job because I quit Target. Um, I'm doing okay in school, and I'm just 100% addicted to Maple. And during these years, it was at the point where I started getting like really strong on Maple, like on my Hayato back in the day. Like I was getting like up there, like in the end game. So what that meant was I started talking to more people, like outside of just like this original friend group, right? I started meeting like a lot more people, and I started meeting people that were also like addicted to Maple and would just play all day. So that kind of like enabled me even more, because my original friend group, they were like casuals, right? Like they're not like like none of them are endgame, for example. They're just like, they would like play for fun. But I started moving on to communities that um that was like full of tryhards, right? And with that, like that just made me want to play even more. And like my existence was like so shallow at the point. Like I'm just being completely blunt about myself. Like you can laugh all you want. Like if people laugh at this, I don't care. Um my existence was like so shallow that all I wanted was like some sort of like clout, basically. Like I wanted to clear a boss first in the game, or I wanted to like get the highest in dojo, for example, because it's just like it just feels good. It just feels good. Like you're recognized, like you're him. You know what I mean? Like it just feels good. And with me, like I got nothing else going on in my life at the time. Like that was everything. That was literally everything, right? So that's all I wanted to do. And eventually, um, we reach a point where, COVID is pretty much gone at this point, but my classes are still online though. So I'm still able to play like hella. I start streaming Maple. This is in like March, April. Let's just say April. It's like April 2022. April 2022, right? I start streaming on Twitch. And this was obviously like a big like thing in my life too. And of course it made me play Maple more cuz I'm streaming. And as you guys may know, I started developing like a fan base, a community, and we were having a lot of fun and stuff. And I just played Maple even more and more and more and more and more, because it's like now it became more than it became. Not only did it become my source of social interactions, not only was it part of my addiction, now it also had a financial benefit too, because I was blessed enough that my stream made decent enough money that I could start help paying for school. And for those who don't know, this is very personal. I've never told this to anybody, but I have to give my mom, maybe I shouldn't say exact amount, but I have to give her a certain amount of money every single month to help out, because that's just how it is. Like I have to, like, it helps pay for like the bills and for stuff for her if she wants anything. So I have to give her a certain amount of money every month, and I have to pay for my school, right? Instead of just like constantly taking loans, I have to like start tackling those loans. So I put my heart and soul into this, like into this whole streaming thing. And we eventually made it pretty much to the top of like Maple streaming. And I will always be super grateful for that. And but I'm just trying to help you understand like what's going on in my head as the years progress and I'm playing Maple. This is basically when you guys first kind of like find out who I am. So keep in mind that everything that you know about me really is after already like over 4 years of playing Maple. This whole thing I have not talked about. Like this is all an experience that I have myself, and now you guys know because I made this video, that is just like part of me. Like this is all like regrets and mistakes and like depression and all this like lack of discipline. This is like the biggest thing that I put myself through that nobody knows. And this is when you guys start finding out who I am. And the thing is, at this point, I'm already 4 years into the game. I'm already end game. You know what I mean? Like I'm already end game, and I can make the content just entertaining without having to like kind of grind my life away as much as I did in these earlier years, because I already accomplished everything, right? Eventually, I start my second account and I have to start grinding again, right? From the start. And what did that do? I'm grinding from the start again, and I already have this addiction, and my social reliance has gotten even bigger because now I'm streaming to hundreds of people and tens of thousands of people on YouTube. Now my social reliance is even bigger because there's more people, right? It's like now I'm even more tunnel visioned online because I even started a new account too. Like that's how addicted I was, is like I even started a whole new account, like without even like thinking about it. Like I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna make a new account. Like it's actually like it's insane. But that did blow me up even more. Like it did. And things were good for me, right? In terms of things were good for me, like in quotations, they were good for me on a surface level. But on a deeper level, things were not good for me because I started spending even more time playing the game. Because not only did I play the game a lot, I started spending a lot of time editing and making YouTube videos and learning how to like use Photoshop properly. And I became the leader of Excel, for example, and like have to manage the guild and like all these different things. And what started suffering because I started doing all those things? Oh, there goes my school. There goes my family relationships. There goes my few friends I have IRL. Like, it's like, I just never learned my lesson. You know what I mean? I just never learned my lesson after this has happened to me before. Like, it happened when I was 18. It happened when I was 19. It happened when I was 20. It happened when I was 21. It happened when I was 22. This constant addiction, this constant addiction to Maple, right? That has, like, objectively and quantifiably ruined my life, right? And then we reach the point where I get banned, right? 3 months ago in March, right? We reach March 2020 to 2023, right? And at this point, this might have been, I actually don't know, this might have been like the most depressed I've ever been in the last 5 years, or maybe initially at the start here. Like these 2 points were like so bad for me, like so bad. And I'm not saying this to like gain sympathy. I'm just simply speaking like of just like what, like how I handled these things, or like how, like what I went through basically. Dude, I wrote May to the 203, okay, 2023. So the biggest thing on my mind that kept reoccurring to me is this thought of me being a loser. And when I say loser, I'm not talking about somebody who like a NEET. I'm not talking about like a NEET. I'm talking about like I'm not talking about like somebody who's like inside all day and like wearing a hood in the dark and playing games all day and eating Cheetos, like shit like that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a loser in the literal definition of the word as somebody who just lost a lot. So at this point, I'm like, okay, my Twitch is over. I grinded 5 years just to lose it all. I sacrificed all my friends, all this time in school. I'm so far behind in school. I have a shit relationship with my family. And any like romantic type relationship I had with people all suffered. I didn't even mention that actually. Everything like those things suffered as well because of Maple, because of my like complete addiction to the game. Like I just basically I didn't give anything else in my life the required time it needs to be successful. I just half-assed everything and I cut corners on everything just so I could play Maple more. That's like the long story short. And so everything is just down. And I'm like, I'm a loser. Like, I'm a bum. Like, for the last 5 years, I put everything into Maple. Everything. Like, my whole life into it just for it to be, like, nothing in the end. You know what I mean? And for about a month after that, I was so upset. Like, I was so upset and ashamed of myself. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to see anybody. But like I was so like desperate for some sort of solution to make myself feel better. I started looking up like online therapy and like all these like Reddit discussions about like what I should do. And then ultimately what ultimately helped me the most was I started actually talking to my family again. I started talking to my family and explained to them this level of addiction I was at and all the mistakes I've made and all the schooling that I got far behind on, because they had no idea. They thought that my schooling was just taking long because I was like switching majors or something. Like I just like found a new excuse every time. I just opened up to them about everything, like everything. And surprisingly, they were really supportive. Like they were really, really supportive. And all of a sudden, I realized that even if I've lost so much, I do still have things that matter. And I do still have things that make me feel better. And what else I realized is the person who has to, like the person who can gain the most and who has the most potential is the person who has lost the most. The person who's at rock bottom. And I realized if I just simply change my perspective on my situation, if I stop thinking that I'm a loser, where instead I start thinking I'm somebody who has a lot of potential and that the only way from here is up because I'm already at the bottom, then I'll start feeling better about myself. And ultimately, what I realized is I needed discipline. This is the major thing that I have been missing in my life, is discipline. My whole life was always just, I'll figure it out. I can figure it out. I'm smart. I can do it. And that's what I need. I needed discipline. I needed to be able to actually take control of my own life instead of having something else take control of my life. And the last few months have genuinely been completely life-changing for me. Like 100%. And I know there's still a lot of work to do and a lot of growth for me to do still. But just within the last few months, from like March to now, I have never felt better in my life in the last 5 years since I graduated high school to now than I do now. I've never felt better. And people can say copium, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Doesn't mean anything. And the reason I feel better is because I have some amount of discipline now. And what do I mean by this? What possibly have changed? What could have changed, right? Now that I'm not playing Maple anymore, and after a month of just like feeling like shit, I realized, hey, I have a lot of time on my hands, right? And I just started doing other things. I work a full-time job now, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, like a full-ass job. And I actually teach English as well on the side from 6 to 7 after work. Like I teach English online, like to people like foreigners, you know? And and not only that, I started hanging out with my friends more. Like probably the amount of times I went out to hang out with my friends in the last few months is deadass more than the last 5 years. Isn't that crazy? And with that, like, I've just been happy. Like, they understand. And I realized that people in real life, this sounds really cruel, but like in my experience, people in real life, like you just have like a better connection with them. I don't know how to describe it. Like they're just more like, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. Like they just like get it, I guess. And not only that, as well as my relationship with my family went up. Like I actually talk to them and hang out with them, and like I'm not pissed whenever they talk to me. And the biggest part of all of this, well, maybe not the biggest part, but a huge part of all this, is my grades shot up so much. And this has given me such a huge sense of self-confidence in myself as a person because of my grades as well. Because this whole time, these last 5 years, I kept telling myself, oh, it's just too hard. College is hard, blah, blah, blah. Whereas K through 12, I was a prodigy child. And now when I do my schoolwork and I actually sit down and struggle and try and actually do it, because I force myself to have the discipline to do it whether I like it or not, it's really not that hard. It's really not that hard at all. And last semester, I got all A's. This is the first time I got all A's in all college. All A's. And I'm taking summer classes right now, and I have all A's in them right now too. Hopefully that maintains. But yeah. So everything has just been like better because I just decided to take my life into my own hands now. And why do I even talk about all of this? Why did I give you this whole like monologue of discipline and all these stupid ass mistakes I made? Why am I even mentioning this? Oh, do I want people to feel bad for me? No. The whole reason I'm mentioning this, if you remember at the start, is I want to explain to people why it's not so easy for me to just come back to MapleStory. You guys have to understand this whole picture of my life. You have to understand everything to understand why I can't just come back like it's nothing. Because a lot of people just say, oh, just come back. Just come back. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just come back. It doesn't matter. We like your content. It doesn't matter. Just come back. You guys have to understand that I put myself through hell because of this game. And I have a genuine addiction to it. Even just watching that 6th Job trailer triggered something in my mind to want to start playing again. Like it triggered a sequence of events of like, okay, when's the most optimal time to play? Who am I going to play? Oh my God, like all these things. Like my brain started going to that like addictive place. And that's why I need discipline, because I need to control myself. I genuinely believe that there is a way for me to play MapleStory if I have enough discipline. Like if like I can control myself where it's not going to consume the other aspects of my life. But right now, as of right now, I don't believe that I'm at that point yet. So when people say, oh, just come back, it's not that simple. I think that right now, if I were to play, I don't believe I have enough discipline yet. It's only been a few months of me like really trying to like change my life. I've been going to the gym too. That's, oh my God, dude. That's like a whole other thing that like completely changed my life too. Like all of these things, getting a job, going to the gym, talking to my family, hanging out with my friends, it all built, like doing well in school, it all built discipline in me. Like all these like little points in my life that had just like added discipline, that just have forced me to be like, okay, from this time to this time I have to do this, from this time to this time I have to do that, and I will do it well. And I've just been feeling so much better about myself, like so much more accomplished, because I'm doing well in all these different things. And I know right now, as of making this video, that if I were to play Maple, 100% I'll start cutting corners again, just like I did when I was a teenager, just like when I was younger. I'll start cutting corners again and start, finding ways to justify playing Maple more, because that's what I did for 5 years straight. Like it's just gonna happen again. You know what I mean? So I hope you understand and can respect that my decision to come back, whether I want to or I don't want to, well, it's not like you guys can't like influence that. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to make that decision for me. Like, it's something that I will do if I feel I'm ready to come back. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter about like harassment or how, or like, oh my God. So people keep saying this. It's like, oh, you're down bad for like views, or like you're down bad like for clicks and stuff. Like, oh, like your Zelda content ain't it, or your Final Fantasy content ain't it, and stuff like that. It's like, no, it has nothing to do with any of that. The entire reason of like me not playing or anything like that is just like a simple like health reason for me. And people are like, oh, you uploaded that 6th job video just because like, like you're trying to get back into the game. It's like, no, it was as simple as just people wanted to talk about the 6th job, and a lot of people were talking about it in my chat at the time, and I'm just like, fuck it, this sounds interesting, let me react to it. That's it. Like, it doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that deep. And the other thing is, it's actually crazy that I have to say this. At the end of the day, I could do whatever the fuck I want. It doesn't even matter. People are saying like, oh, I thought you weren't going to upload anymore. Yeah, I did say that. But also at the same time, if I feel like I've grown enough, and if I feel like I have enough discipline, people can grow out of their like stances. Like, life is not black or white. It's not either you play on one side or you're on the other side, and that's it. Like, there's no gray area. Like, no, things aren't that simple. At the end of the day, I could do whatever I want, and you can cry all you want about it. It doesn't matter. So I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I should mention. Oh yeah, so here's another point. So a lot of people are just, it goes back to like uploading the whole 6th job thing. A lot of people are just like, oh, he's only coming back to Maple because it's like he realized that his other games are just like dog shit. Like, he doesn't like playing them or anything like that, and he's just like trying to get like bag from Maple again or some shit. Guys, I've been uploading videos since I was 13 years old. A lot of the old ones are hidden because they're so embarrassing, but the only reason why I ever got into uploading videos and why I still upload or stream is purely because I find it fun. Sure, I made some money out of it when I was streaming Maple. You guys act like talking about money is like some sort of taboo. Like, of course I did, sure. But that's not why I streamed. That's literally not why I streamed. Like, or that's not why I made videos. Everything was just because I just found it fun. I've never labeled myself as like, oh, I'm a full-time streamer, I'm a full-time YouTuber. Like, no, it was always just because I wanted to do it for fun. Like, even if you think about it, I've only ever done one sponsorship with HelloFresh, and I could have done way more if I wanted. I could have and made more money, but I only ever did one because I knew HelloFresh and I wanted to make it fun. Honestly, like, I feel like I'm tarnishing the video by even talking about these things, because it's like I shouldn't have to explain any of this. Like, a lot of those types of comments I get on Twitch and like YouTube comments are just like brain rot. Like, they're just like they just like don't understand it at all. So I'm just gonna stop. But long story short, that's why I don't come back. Like, it's not that simple for me to come back. If you did watch till this point in the video, I know it's a long ass video. Sorry, bear with me. I'm just going to let you know that I'm going to be doing a stream on the release of Kali, and that's going to be kind of like my test to see how playing Maple feels again, and see what happens after that. If I feel like Maple, if I feel like I'm gonna start getting addicted again, I'm not gonna play. Like, I'm just gonna stop because I have too many responsibilities in my life right now, and I can't let Maple compromise those things for me, and I need more discipline till I go back. But if I feel like, I think like it's okay, I feel like I'm mentally like strong, sound enough, like I'm an adult now. I'm not 18 years old anymore. I'm 23 now. Um, then I will consider playing more. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry that this is very personal, and I hope this brings clarity onto like who I am and kind of understand shit like that. And if you have anything to say, I'll answer in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching.